Comrades, I have some very sad news to report. George Ciccariello-Maher, America's most beloved communist professor, who's made such erudite remarks as, "All I want for Christmas is white genocide," and the Las Vegas massacre is what happens when white people don't get what they want, is no longer teaching at Drexel University. Why did this great 21st century Trotsky leave us? Let's find out. Drexel University placed tenured politics professor Ciccariello-Maher on leave in October after he blamed the Las Vegas massacre on white supremacist patriarchy, citing safety concerns and threats the professor had received. Drexel let him continue teaching a couple weeks later, but only remotely. Fast forward to December 28th. Ciccariello-Maher announces he won't work at Drexel in 2018. The former professor said, "After nearly a year of harassment by right-wing, white supremacist media outlets and internet mobs, after death threats and threats of violence directed against me and my family, my situation has become unsustainable." Wow, this guy's a spin master. No one condones threats, of course, but right-wing, white supremacist media outlets? What's funny about Ciccariello's coverage is that a lot of it was just "Professor said X." There's no commentary needed for people to see how crazy it is for you to blame mass murder on whiteness, Ciccariello. Is it a coincidence that every term that sounds like that last name is foul? Sicko, cicada, Sicklin hammer. Anyways, at the end of the day, the former professor is a hypocrite. After Drexel kicked him off campus, he positioned himself as a champion for academic freedom. But he said something very different a few months beforehand on Tucker Carlson's show.
I wonder if you see something inconsistent with someone who teaches at a university dedicated to the idea of the open exchange of ideas, calling for ideas he disagrees with to be shut down.
I think we should be clear that universities are actually spaces for rational ideas, for arguments that are based in fact and evidence. And the reality is that Charles Murray has never based his arguments in evidence or facts. He has never passed any kind of rigorous academic examination of those ideas.
So Charles Murray, or anyone who hasn't received the blessing of academic peer review, isn't qualified for academic freedom. Unlike this peer-reviewed essay on feminist glaciers, or this one in which a PhD student explains his trans-species hippopotamus identity. Time after time, Ciccariello-Maher has demonstrated that if the opinion expressed doesn't fit his worldview, he will first misrepresent it and then deny it the same protections as other free speech. The former professor also seems to think whiteness, a skin color the last time I checked, is an ideology like radical Islam.
You know, whiteness is never seen as a cause in and of itself of these kinds of massacres, of other forms of violence, despite the fact that whiteness is a structure of privilege and it's a structure of power, and a structure that when it feels threatened, lashes out.
His confusion here is priceless. Like, why won't the racist media just establish people's motives based on how much melanin is in their skin? Oh gee, I don't know, Georgie. Maybe because that would be racist. It really seems like Antifa fanboy George isn't very fond of American values, or the people who defend them. In March, the former professor tweeted, "Some guy gave up his first-class seat for a uniformed soldier. People are thanking him. I'm trying not to vomit or yell about Mosul." You know, I keep referring to Ciccariello as former professor. While he's no longer a professor, George kicked off the new year by announcing that he'd be joining the Hemispheric Institute of Performance and Politics at New York University as a visiting scholar. The institute apparently meshes scholarship, politics, and artistic expression together to investigate embodied practice, performance, as a vehicle for the creation of new meaning and the transmission of cultural values, memory, and identity. That sounds totally legitimate. Drexel, meanwhile, praised George for being an outstanding classroom teacher. I don't know if he's outstanding, but I do know that, at least for now, he's standing outside of the classroom. For Campus Unmasked, I'm Prof. Shimshock. If you like this video and support our mission, please make sure to comment and subscribe. If something happens on your campus and you'd like us to investigate, send us details using the form on campusunmasked.com.